Time for another edition of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Bradley Meyer of the Okoboji Wellness Clinic. Good morning, Dr. Meyer.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Glad to be with you all.
Yeah, on a beautiful day. Good day for grounding. Good day for vitamin D hunting.
Yeah, you don't have to go far today. Just get outside there and find some soil, and the sunshine's shining beautifully and bright already. It's going to be a great day.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to talk about health and our health secretary, Robert Kennedy Jr., talking about holistic medicine.
Right? Yeah. On HBOT News, I was really encouraged yesterday. It's been a recent post talking specifically about bringing a lot of quote-unquote alternative therapy and medicines, in a sense, out of the shadows, because all these types of treatments that we've been working with and through at the Okoboji Wellness Clinic and other integrative clinics across the country are doing right now. They are really effective. They are result driven, and they are based in science. And so it is something that it's a pretty unique space to be right now, where we have at a political level folks talking about things outside of prescription drugs. And so he specifically talked about amino acids, peptides, IV chelation therapy, hyperbaric therapy in this post, and basically saying how this stuff needs to be given its due. And I agree with him, because what we're seeing here at the Okoboji Wellness Clinic, and all of my brothers and sisters across the country, doctors in the integrated medical world that are traditionally trained, and we're getting outside that proverbial box further and further, and getting to a space where we have, as we talk about, more tools in the tool belt, and to give doctors freedom once again to practice safely but effectively with the more tools, and having that validated on a federal level is pretty gratifying to say, hey, what we're doing now is being recognized. And I think, again, as our guests come from across the fruited plain to seek out treatments and wellness, there's a reason that they're doing this right now. And again, it's results. And the one thing I will say, Dave, is that many times what cripples so many folks, and I can make this illustration across the board, whether or not you're a traditionally trained doctor getting into more, trying to get more tools in your tool belt, whether you're a patient that's struggling with health and doesn't know where else to turn because you're kind of spinning your wheels, that the fear of the unknown sometimes cripples the path forward and possibilities. And so I invite folks to get into that space where you might feel a little uncomfortable and lean into it. And, I give my example of my daughter, Grace, who didn't take the training for sailing at the Okoboji Yacht Club, and she's going right into crew with somebody that is a sophomore in high school now. And she is learning on the go. And my daughter is 8 years old, and that has taken tremendous bravery. She didn't know the different names, the jib, the whisker pole, and she's just going out there and leaning into it and doing it. And sometimes that's just the best way, just go in there, trust that God's got you, and that you're gonna figure it out because you've got support around you. So that is an incredible inspiration to me. And it's kind of the path that I've followed in the last 3 to 4 years, too, and learning this new language, all these different treatments and approaches that weren't necessarily all taught to me in great length in medical school. Ozone therapy, hyperbaric therapy, neurofeedback, nutrition, all these things are new languages that leaning into them so that we have more tools in the tool belt, we expand our knowledge base, and we have more options for our guests. And so that is, I guess, the biggest call to action that I have right now is to try something new. And beautiful story yesterday of a gal that came into the clinic, and she is probably in her 70s, and she was open to the possibility. And I found it pretty interesting when she came in. She shared with me, and I've invited her, Dave. I think she might be willing to come on this summer and share her story. But she came in saying she had no energy, she had a lot of pain. But we're about 6 weeks into this, and I met with her yesterday, and she said, Dr. Meyer, I didn't realize how sideways I was. I didn't realize until I started to feel better again. And I think that's where a lot of folks sit. It's a gradual decline in the health, and we end up getting used to our body being inflamed and being out of balance. And then there's this acceptance of it that says, well, I'm just part of aging. I'm getting old. And so she was open to trying something new, and she was so grateful because she said, my brain fog is getting better, my energy level's up, I'm sleeping better, and my pain is almost completely gone. She had hip and shoulder pain. We did some ozone injections, and she's done some IV ozone, and wow. And we're only 6 weeks into this. She's adjusted her diet. She's cut out gluten, cut out dairy and sugar, and wow, it is. These are the things that make it all worth it. A great team here. We're all inspired by stories like this individual's, and then to hear it being recognized broadly, becoming more and more something that's not quote unquote. A lot of times folks say, well, that's if why isn't that done everywhere? Why isn't that done over here? That can't be a real treatment that really works, because if so, everybody would be doing it. Well, guess what? More and more folks that are traditionally trained are starting to incorporate a lot of these different tools. So it's super exciting time, and it's we always say, Dave, we want to add life to your years. Yeah. And so we want that quality.
So this is interesting. Just a quick story to tell you. I had run across an interview that Senator Ron Johnson had done, and he talked about how over the years he had struggled with GERD, and he had taken Pepcid and Prilosec and Nexium, and I know you know this story because you did this yourself. And so anyway, interestingly, he takes a supplement called hydrochloric acid. And yes. So he takes hydrochloric acid, just a cheap over-the-counter supplement that you can get. And he said, and just like that, abracadabra, away goes the GERD, because those other things try and suppress your acid when you really need more acid.
Wow. Exactly. And that is spot on. So many of our folks that come in, they're not making enough of that acid. So, and then what ends up happening, like we've talked about before, the food sits in the stomach, doesn't digest, and then there's lactic acid buildup that occurs. And then we go on these meds, the Prilosex, the Pepcids, and then we end up over time blocking the absorption of a lot of our important minerals, vitamins, that are also essential in what, Dave?
Brain health.
Brain health, yes, and making more hydrochloric acid.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, wow. So it's wild.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll tell you what, though, you can see the snowball just picking up steam on this. And I think if there is one blessing that comes out of COVID, doctors like you decided, I mean, they took everything with their medical training. They just took everything as to be textbook true. And doctors like you, once COVID started rolling, thought, I want to do a little deeper dive into some of these things. And boy, the snowball's rolling now because doctors like you figured out that sometimes there's a better pathway forward.
Absolutely. It's so gratifying, and there are infinite pathways forward. And that's what we want to find out. What is right for you? Because what might be right for you might be different than the next person. But in general, there are patterns to follow, generalities, but that a lot of folks fall into. But absolutely, and that is a space that is a space that again we're that narrowing the line now between traditional and holistic, and it's kind of coming back to where it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the general direction. It's, you go back again, we've talked about the Flexner report in the 1920s and where we became really dominant with prescriptions in our healthcare sector. And now we're going back into, I feel, a blend of more tools, more holistic approaches combined with some of the traditional stuff that we know is effective, and trying to find the right balance and mix for everybody. But because, again, ideally we want to get our body to heal on its own if we can, where we just use those pharmaceuticals as a bridge. But sometimes they're part of the equation for sure. But it's a beautiful thing, as you said, the snowball, to see this change right now, to be a part of that wave, and we're just really grateful for that.
All right, listen, for folks that want to come see you, they want to investigate, they haven't been feeling up to snuff, haven't had that energy, or they've got brain fog, or just not feeling whatever. Maybe they've been to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they just want to visit about it and like, man, I'm just not living the day. I want to feel better. How can they do that?
Give us a call at 712-339-6024. We're at 3305 Berquist Avenue in Spirit Lake, just off Highway 71. You can give us a call also to set up a 15-minute discovery discussion with me, where we will talk a little bit about what your expectations, do you feel like you're going to be a good fit for working with us, and kind of delve a little bit into what's going on with you there. And again, that's complimentary, and then we can get you scheduled right away for a long extended appointment where we can really start to peel away the layers of the onion, as we say. So, and again, always got blessed by an amazing team here of compassionate folks and souls that are on the mission together and filled with the healing spirit. So it's a great place to be, and when you come here, I feel that you will be touched by that amazing team that I'm blessed to have surround me. So we'll be with you as you walk on that journey.
Very good. Dr. Meyer, thanks a million. Again, don't hang up on me. I want to talk to you just a second, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
Dr. Bradley Meyer with us this morning on another edition of Wellness Wednesday. And once again, you can find out more at OkobojiWellnessClinic.com.